listening to Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth on AFR Talk.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. In a few moments, we'll be with Pastor Aaron Free. Afternoons with Aaron till the top of the hour, and you can get in on the prayer for those to come to Christ. Get on the Facebook page, like the page if you already haven't done that, and then put down the names of the people that you're praying for, first names. You can put down the reason. That's fine too, of course. And if you're struggling yourself with your faith, hey, put down your own name. We've all been there. I say that as a disciple in progress, doing the best I can with my shaped head. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Now we welcome our good friend, Earnest Hart Jr. He is a security consultant, author, four-time world kickboxing champion. When he was competing, he's been involved in security for the last 30-plus years, including consulting businesses and organizations as well as personal protection. Mr. Hart, welcome back. How are you, my friend?
Fine. How are you doing, Crane?
I'm doing well. Actually, I got to tell you, I'm not doing too well because every time I see the story about the SUV where a man and his wife and baby girl who was in the back seat were surrounded by bikers, reportedly harassed and chased by bikers on the highway, at one point being closed in, and the driver drove off, running over one of the bikers, and then driving after being chased into a traffic jam, if you will, where traffic had stopped, where the bikers get off their bikes, a few of them, take their helmets, bash the window, drag them out, and beat him nearly to death. And my question to you is that you look at that situation, and as a security analyst, do you have any thoughts of could the driver have done anything differently? If you feel like your life's in danger in that way, would you have done anything differently?
Well, first of all, Crane, there has to be understanding about any kind of type of conflict. And the quickest way to do a real quick analogy is, have you ever been to a place where there's a bunch of people and two guys get into a confrontation? One guy pushes the other guy, then the other guy hits him. The fight is on. After they break it up, then there's, of course, if the police coming out, they'll find out who started it. Well, the guy who pushed, he always thinks he didn't start it. It's the guy who punched. Same thing happens here. I'm sure that these people who were the man was in the SUV with his family, was very afraid. He was scared. And I don't know what happened, what set off the bikers, because bikers tend to be a little aggressive. Because, I used to do some cycling myself when I was younger, and bikers and cyclists have a little love-hate relationship with cars. So whatever happened with the cyclists, I should say the bikers, they kind of wanted to retaliate. All I saw on the tape was when he slowed down and got bumped. When he got bumped, that's what set him off. Well, he kind of set it off himself by doing what he did. And from that standpoint, when you have conflict like that, there's several things you can do. And the first thing, of course, is you can ignore it and let it go. It kind of went too far, though. It went from one situation to the next. It kind of escalated. And it was up to the person in the beginning, both of them, whoever decided to back down. But I don't think that person in the SUV was trying to make anything happen, because his family, and he was afraid. So I had to put it in the biker's hands.
So when that happens and see, my view is, if I feel threatened and I can escape the situation, I'm going to do my best to do so. I feel the same way with my family, but if my family's there, all bets are off. That's it. It's game over. I'm going to do whatever I can to protect them. Tell me something. When you deal with that situation as a security analyst, as he is getting chased, or if you're into a place where you're going to be caught and you're outnumbered, what do you do? Do you come out fighting? What do you advise? Do you stay in the car, or do you, in essence, turn? Do you try to negotiate? What do you do when you are dealing with a mob that is set to what you believe is life-threatening, not only for you but your family?
Well, they were acting just like you do in most group violence. There were soccer games and things like that, whatever, that guy's family was at risk. He felt he had to do what he had to do. When you have fight or flight, you got to make a decision. He wanted to get out of there. The fact that those guys got in front of him, that was not as important to him than saving his family. And people have to be in that position to understand that. They're often, well, they shouldn't have not done what he shouldn't have not done it. Well, guess what? He was provoked to save his family, and that's number one. Like you said, all bets are off. If I was in that same situation, I would have tried to get out of there the best way I can. And there's no right way. You know, of course, people got hurt, and that's bad. But the situation is the cyclists, the motorcyclists, they were already breaking the law. You could tell they had tasted them going down the road the wrong way, going up and down the sidewalk. They were kind of aggressive themselves. So that guy, to me, the guy had a right to try to make a getaway.
Okay, and once that happens, what happens if you are confronting a mob? Do you fight back? Do you, if you're going and they get you on the ground, do you just cover up? Is it just a judgment call right on the way? I mean, it's one of these things where I get the idea, Mr. Hart, that if you're in this situation and you're going to be attacked, you want to do whatever you can to defend yourself, and that even if you're outnumbered, but that might incur more wrath from the mob. So is it just a judgment call at that point?
Well, it's a judgment call, but see, there were a couple of people attacking. You know, when they started breaking his window and stuff. The challenge you have is the gentleman who was driving probably did not take care. He wasn't trained to take care of himself, so he did the best he can by covering up. It's normally one or two people who are the ringleaders of any mob. If you could, if you knew how to take care of yourself and you handled them, then the other people would back off. But that's, again, I can say anything right now. It's 100 different ways you can handle that same situation. Supposing that guy had a firearm, it had been told in the car. It had probably been different. Somebody had a firearm who was in the crowd, in the group. Now, the New York has a stringent rules about firearms, so that's a good, that's one of the situations probably why he did not have it. But it's a call, judgment call. But if it's your family, you want to take care of it as quick as you can.
Okay, and if you recognize there's going to be a physical encounter, is it best to strike first? Yes,
I believe so, because if you strike first, that throws them off because they're not expecting you to do that. So striking first, you may, be a preemptive attack, as they would say. That always slows people down because they're thinking that you're not going to fight back. Most people attack people because they don't think they're going to do anything. I don't care how mad that guy was with the motorcycle helmet. He was being an aggressor, but he thought he had the right to do that. But if that guy would have been able to take care of himself and fight back first, he would have thrown everything into a loop.
And bottom line, when you're saying as a security and expert in defending yourself, the person defending himself, it's not a slight to that person. It's the idea, the reality of what happens. He was obviously a man who was panicked and who wouldn't be in dealing with that situation. But as we look at things, when it's time that we recognize that there's no other way out but a physical confrontation, then we've got to take the initiative, in essence, and take care of ourselves. Mr. Hart, I appreciate it. Very difficult thing to analyze, to say the least, but it does harken back to a place where we are in our society in general, which is it is our responsibility at some point to not only take care of ourselves or learn how to take care of ourselves and prepare, but also our kids. And it's something that I think everybody, hey, we need to educate our kids. Obviously, we get them into the Word first and foremost. But another aspect of that is just as important as I would say even reading at times is to learn how to defend oneself. And I know that you are a person who is extremely, extremely well-versed in how to do that and how to work with people. And we appreciate the time you take with us to be Hart smart. Mr. Hart, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ernest Hart, Jr. I'll post the website on the Facebook. I did think it was interesting because we're not judging it, but looking at a situation, I think everybody sits there and goes, what would I do? How would I do this? What can I do? And our hearts and prayers go to God for the families impacted by that awful, awful event. And I pray for justice for those that were the transgressors. That said, we go to our good friend. He's a patient pastor, Pastor Aaron Free. Pastor Free, welcome. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, you bet, Crane.
I was going a little over today with Beat the Press, and some people in St. Louis might get this joke, or maybe Chicago and Detroit. I'm the Mike Martz of time management. And some people, there's like 5% of the audience who sat there and said, you know what, I get that, because he never knew how to run a clock. Mike Martz, coach, great offensive coordinator, not so much on the coach aspect, but again, that's me just making judgments. Let me ask you this. We have a story here that we're going to get to on the flip side of the break that involves Martin Scorsese. And it involves his view that he is accepted, he believes he's going to hell. Quote, I'm not going to hell anyway, so who cares? Rock and roll kind of way. He doesn't mean it that way. This is serious, soul-level conviction. I am living in sin, and I will go to hell because of it. On the flip side, we're going to talk about this statement, this viewpoint, and the greater discussion on what hell is. We'll do that with our good friend, Pastor Aaron Free, and then we will have the prayer for those to come to Christ. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.